here we are. This is the Grand River property. So I thought we'd come out here today, check some honey supers. I took them off and harvested a couple of the honey supers a few weeks ago. But the bees have been going kind of crazy, so I wanted to just look in and see. I haven't been here since I put them back on, so it's been about 2 weeks. So we want to go in and just take a look. I'm not doing a full inspection today. I'm just going to look and see if they're filling the supers back up again, and kind of where we're at with that. I'll probably come back here on the weekend or maybe next week and do an actual full inspection. But yeah, thought you'd like to come in and see, you know, when do we need to add new honey supers, and what does it look like when the honey supers start filling up. So, all right, here we go. All right, here we are in the apiary. We've got 2 hives here, as you can kind of see. Bees are buzzing pretty good today. All right, we're about ready to open the box up. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is probably my least favorite hive. I've probably gotten stung more off of this hive than any of the other ones. And they always seem to be just a little bit more aggressive and sensitive to me being around. I'm not sure why that is. These are Italian bees. They should be kind of fairly gentle, but they are a little bit rougher. The other hive here that we've got is quite gentle, but this one has just always been a bit aggressive. So let's go ahead and we're gonna pop it open here. I'm not going to use smoke today. And the reason I'm not going to use smoke is because I don't want to be here for too long. I'm just kind of checking it out. I'm not going to do too much. When I'm doing an inspection, I like the J-hook hive tool the best. It really helps me be able to pry out the frames really easily, so that I can be nice and gentle and not rile the bees up while I'm trying to fumble through everything. It looks like they've done a really good job of drawing out the comb on this one. I'll bring the camera a little bit closer and see if we can get you guys a better view here. But they've done a pretty good job of drawing out these frames. This first frame here doesn't have a lot on here. Looks like it's still mostly foundation. You can see this one's got mostly just foundation on it. Not much else going on there. But it does kind of bring up a good question. How do you know when you need to add another box, another super, or when do you want to put some supers on your deeps? How do you know? My rule of thumb is typically when the boxes are about, I would say 6 to 7 frames drawn out of comb, then I usually like to add another one to give them some more space. You don't want them getting overcrowded, but you also don't want to add it too soon. If you add the frames too soon, then you're giving them a lot more space that they have to try to protect themselves. So it's, you know, you got to be a little bit careful with when you're adding, but you want to make sure you are adding extra. Oh yeah, they're filling these out really well. So this one, I'll hold it up here. It's got them a little agitated. I don't know if you can tell, but it's all full of nectar. It's not capped yet, but it is full, pretty much. So it's going to be capped honey here soon. So that's a good sign. I'm going to take out a few more and just see. But I'm thinking in another week or so that these ones are going to be ready to be harvested, which is excellent. Ooh. Sorry, little bee. This one is even farther along. This one, they've got it, they're starting to cap it on there. The other side's not quite capped yet, but they are getting there. The farther into the middle we get, the more capped comb you're gonna see. Drop my hive tool. Now these colonies, you know, we ended up making splits out of them. They survived the winter time, so they were kind of busting at the seams earlier this spring. And so I didn't want them to swarm on me, so we ended up making a split, and that's how we made our orchard colonies, is out of the splits from these two hives. I think they still ended up swarming on me anyways. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe they might have. This one's almost fully capped. You can see that. So these are going to be ready to be harvested here in probably a week or so, I'd say, which is really good news. Get out of there, little bee. Back. Let's take this one off, and we'll see what the other one's doing underneath. Oh, they still got a lot of work to go on this one. They have not really done much work at all on this box. So I don't need to add another box on this one. This one, they still have a lot of work that they should be doing. You know, one of the really interesting things I learned this year is that when we made that split, it was a walkaway split. So what that means is, you know, we took the queen, well, I guess it wasn't a true walkaway split. Well, yeah, it was. We took the queen with us, and we left her with left the hives with some eggs that they had to turn into queen cells. And so what that did is that really set them back. See, here's a foundationless one. That really set them back. So it took them, you know, about a couple of weeks to raise up new queens, and then it took them, you know, that the queens, you know, maybe a week to 10 days to go out and start, you know, do her mating flight and come back. And so there was a big brood gap there. And so when that happens, part of the problem I didn't think about was that when you have a big brood gap like that, you are going to lose for a season some of your wax builders, because, you know, the worker bees will only build wax at a certain age. So when you have a gap there where there are no bees in that age range, then you're not going to have anybody during kind of your peak nectar flows building wax to draw out these frames. And I think that was a really big part of my problem, was that I didn't have anybody building wax. Now that problem should be over. They should be building wax now, but I'm not sure. It doesn't look like they are doing anything on this box here yet, and I'm not 100% sure why. But we'll leave it. I'm not going to go into the brood boxes today because I didn't bring any smoke with me, and I'm not really looking to do a full inspection. I just wanted to check this super. All right, here we are on the second hive. So we're about to open it up, and we're going to look and see what all is going on inside this one. They really glue everything down, and I find in the winter or the summer when it's been really hot, the propolis is so sticky. It's just crazy. See all the propolis on here. You see that? Yeah, they just. So this hive, like I said, this box, we harvested honey out of it a couple weeks ago. They have since repaired all of the comb. The comb looks beautiful. And they've got nectar going in there now. So they're filling that up nicely. So they don't have anything, at least, well, in the middle they've got some capped stuff. It really goes to show you though that drawn out comb is like gold. I always say that because we put this box on 2 weeks ago and it's already almost ready to harvest again. Maybe another week or two and they'll be ready to harvest this box. I mean, if they had to draw this comb out, like look at that, they're already stocking that full of nectar. But the problem is when you first start beekeeping, like we've only been doing it for a few years, you gotta really take time to build out your comb. I mean, it's not an overnight process. So, you know, some of these frames are a couple years old with comb on them, but then the bees are gonna have to build out some of these other boxes that don't have any comb yet. So it's really a process trying to get the bees to draw that comb out. It takes a lot of time and energy from them to do that. So if you have frames of drawn out comb, I mean, like I said, that's like gold. Look at this, they're already capping it here. Already capping this box. So I'm not gonna go too much more into this super. I'm gonna close it up. Let's go in real quick and let's just check out this brood box. And we're not going to mess with them too much. But I want to make sure that we got some eggs going on here. I said I wasn't going to go into the brood boxes today, but sometimes when you get in here, you know, it's just too interesting. You can't help yourself but want to keep looking. I do need to clean these frames. There is a lot of burr comb sticking the two hives together, two boxes together. This one has got a lot of drone brood on it. Now this is foundationless comb, you can see. And they've chosen to kind of draw that out a lot with drone brood. Look here and see if I can see the queen anywhere. I don't, okay. All right, we're gonna look at one last frame. I promise, just one last frame. And I'm trying to go especially slow right now with my hands because they are getting a little bit feisty. Starting to bounce off my hands a little bit. They don't like me reaching in right now, which I understand. Lots of brood on this one. I don't know if you can see. If I look real close, probably not. There's some brood, lots of larvae, I mean, sorry. Sun's shining nicely now, so I can look in here. It's almost fully larva. So the queen was probably on this. Oh, there's a couple eggs up there in the top corner. So she's probably here a few days ago, judging by all the larvae. But there are a couple of eggs. There's eggs down here too. So she could be around. You never know. These queens are not marked because they raised new ones. So they're really hard to see, and I don't know if it's because they're Italian queens, but both these hives, the queens are black, which makes it, for me, even harder to see them. The other hives at the country property are buckfast queens, and they're more of a brownish color. And for whatever reason, I can see those ones a lot better than I can see these black ones. Okay, the hives are all back together now. You can see here, that's the one we were just looking in through the brood box, and then we've got, this is the first hive here. Bees are doing good. They're going crazy here. Let them keep going and doing their thing. And I am gonna go have some dinner. I was pretty encouraged just to see how well they're filling out those boxes. I wish I had more drawn out comb for them to just start putting stuff away with, but unfortunately that just takes time for the bees to just draw that out. So that's a good lesson, is just, you know, keep that drawn out comb. All right, well, I'll talk to you next time. And this is the less glamorous side of beekeeping, but look at all the sweat. It's not even that hot today, but it's just pouring off of me. This is why I wear a hat every time I come out, because that would just be all over my face if it wasn't for the hat. So beekeeping is hot and it can be hard sometimes, but it's definitely worth it.